our equipment.
Yes, roll an intelligence investigation.
Thinking back to the amazing exploding kobold. Yeah.
That would be a 26.
26. And absolutely, as you are starting to pat down her pockets, you know if you slipped your hand inside some of these pockets in her clothing, there absolutely are needle points.
Well,
and
you
can imagine what would happen if they stuck you.
And I'll rub my neck.
Can you
Adrex,
disarm her so that way we can bind her?
Yeah, I should be. Can I use thieves' tools to disarm her
Yeah,
booby-trapped equipment?
no problem. And she's only carrying daggers as far as weapons go. Daggers and other kinds of knives. From the large dagger that she was wielding when she was threatening Wendy, all the way down to in her boots, she has stilettos hidden away. You find like 4 or 5 daggers hidden in other parts too that you didn't.
No, that's about what Red was expecting. That's exactly what he's carrying.
Was this bard's hands bound?
His hands are bound behind his back, and then there's a lead coming off from that she was marching him with.
All right, I'll cut through those,
Okay.
and then I'll ask, all right, what's your story? And I'm in no mood in Orin.
I'll get to that in a second. First, Red.
Mm-hmm.
In addition to her daggers and things, you find a poisoner's kit.
Yep.
Some thieves' tools, the various accoutrements. No ranged weapons. She's not carrying any kind of bow or anything like that. She is carrying in 2 small vials, a type of poison that you haven't seen before, as well as a scroll written in the Drow language that shows a diagram of these same 2 vials. Make me a quick intelligence check. You can add your poisoner's
kit intelligence?
Yeah, go ahead and add that in.
That would be a 27.
27? You can't read it unless you can read Drow. But it looks like a poison schematic. These 2 things, when mixed in a certain way, this must be what she coated her weapon to cut you with.
And it's 1 dose with 2 vials for the single dose?
Looks like you get a couple doses out of it.
Okay.
But unless you mix them together, they're inert.
Okay.
Wendy.
hey Red.
Yeah.
Hey Red. Get back 10 hit points plus your maximum amount of hit die.
Oh, excellent. Thank you. That really fucking burned. God, what was that stuff? Never seen it.
That's your
Uh,
job.
How far down are you now, Red?
Well... I am now down 18.
Get back another 10. Birdie, get back that 5 that I dealt you as well.
Raazu.
I'm at full hit die, so...
The strange glow that you saw emanating from Red's skin after she stabbed him looked similar to the kind of light that emanates off your weapon when you strike with a holy smite.
Mm-hmm.
Wendy, you ask the bard, what's his story, and you're in no kind of mood. He tells you that he is but a lowly escaped slave, and he assures you, madame, that he is absolutely at your mercy. Instead of madame, he uses a term of nobility in the Aarakocra tongue. He's paying you great deference.
Yeah, and Wendy's just kind of like impatiently moving a hand.
Wendy, ask him if he actually knows a way outside of the Underdark back to the surface.
He knows what you're saying, probably. Look at him, he's a bard.
That was in common. I could have asked in Southern, but you don't speak that one, so...
He hasn't given you any indication that he understands when you guys speak common.
Okay, good.
But
And,
he is a bard,
yeah,
which means his deception is really high.
I'll ask him, I'll repeat Red's question for him.
Okay. He tells you he knows of an exit from the Underdark, so long as you don't expect him to help you escape. And he says this fairly sadly. In other words, he doesn't, but he's happy to tell you that he does.
Yeah. And I'll just like sigh at that, because this is like this is getting dumber and dumber by the moment. And I say, do the people who are following you know that?
He says that he thinks they're beginning to suspect, but he doubts that this lessens their relief, being out from under the drow whips.
Okay.
When he says that,
What-
he casts kind of a sad glance over at Birdie, who's still rubbing his whip wound.
That Raazu is treating.
What kingdom are you from? Are you from the Wemix?
He gives you the name of another human kingdom that you've never heard of, but he tells you
the Wemix?
that was the good men of Melvin Ponce
Sure.
that fell upon the drow this 2 months past.
Why haven't you gone to meet up with them?
Make a persuasion check.
All right. That's a... Was it this one? Which one was it? Ah, shit. You know what?
Maybe don't throw them into the big pile of
18.
18.
D20s.
19, actually.
You can tell that for a second he's considering giving you kind of a cagey, bard-like answer,
Yeah, but then he remembers that Wendy is in no mood.
but then he remembers that Wendy's in no mood. He tells you that the Wemix, as you call them, were not here on a mission to rescue slaves. They were here, he would assume, on one of their holy crusades.
And at that, Wendy will turn and dead-facedly stare at Red. Hey, turns out the Wemix are here on a holy crusade. Those always end up super well. I wonder why we should side with them, right? That's what you were saying before?
Me? I was saying we probably shouldn't work with slaving drow.
And I wave a hand at this escaped slave. I say, the escaped slave was terrified of meeting up with them.
He tells you he gives you a long and wordy story.
Yeah.
From which you glean that these knights of Melvin Ponce, the one who wear the Wemix on their heraldry, they make excursions into the Underdark. They do so for glory and treasure. They send their best and most noble knights to the Underdark to wage conquest on drow and predominantly drow, but other creatures as well, so that they can come back with great tales of glory and chivalry. But from his point of view, having been a prisoner of the drow basically his whole life, they typically don't accomplish anything from a humanitarian standpoint.
Alright, so if we get into a fight with these guys, and here I'm hoping you can follow along with the fact that we apparently get into a fight with everything. You're not going to be turning us in.
At that, he name drops one of the human captains. He has some kind of dumb name like George.
Yeah.
And he tells you that he knows from personal experience, having sung in his great long haul, that he's killed many, many hobgoblins in the fields.
Yeah, of course.
And he looks at Raazu and gauges her reaction. He uses the hobgoblin words for killed and hobgoblin.
Raazu already brandishing the whip, ready to go to town.
Alright. So, what do we have here? We have a group of escaped human slaves.
We have an
We have a
angry
bunch of
Raazu.
drow who are apparently going to murder. We have an entrance to the Underdark that these Wemix are coming from. How about... And I'll talk to like, I'm kind of like muttering this out in common.
Okay.
Red.
Yeah.
These Wemix are gonna fight the drow. We hate them both.
Agreed.
We find out where the Wemix are coming from, and that's our escape route.
Yep.
We cause some sort of battle, use the distraction to get in there, get what we want, get out, and then to hell with a lot of them. We close up the entrance on our way out.
Congratulations, Wendy. I came up with most of that plan when I was talking to the escaped slaves. And the only thing that I'm going to change is that we need to get the slaves out of here. The other
Sounds
point
good.
that you're missing is we have a group of slaves who survived in this mushroom forest for 3 weeks, which means they might know what you can eat, they might know what you can drink, they might know where you can sleep.
I point at this guy's sickly demeanor and I say, how about we eat whatever they're not eating?
We could take them back to the house, the cottage.
That could be a place for them to hole up in.
Plus, they might know their way around here to some degree, I don't know. None of them seem like particularly woodsy types, but you never know. I didn't talk to them for very long. They obviously assumed I was with the drow.
So
I
is
mean,
your plan to
technically,
try
we're
to
with the dragon.
help these humans escape before moving on to this fortress, or to hold them up somewhere while you guys?
I think our plan is to hold them up near the exit and then take them with us on our probably hilarious escape.
Okay. What are you going to
pretty
do
good
with
at those.
Caldril?
Caldril is the drow,
Yes.
Yes.
and I'm still kind of like trying to talk this through with the party.
Mhm.
I'm gonna say, all right, Caldril clearly hates us, but
Yep.
wants to get in good with her people.
Is that the case? She just seems
I mean,
like she's trying to. She's
here's
trying to
the
make
thing.
a quick buck.
Handing her over to her own people would probably be more cruel than anything even...
I'm okay with that.
She wanted to sell this.
I was going to
bar-
say anything that even Raazu could think of. And I'm going to go over and look at the way she's manacled. Do I think I could wriggle out of those manacles?
Oh yes.
All right, Raazu, we got to talk.
Hmm.
These are cute, but they're not actually going to do something against someone who's determined.
I mean,
Yeah, well.
But Bronzil does confirm with you all that, to the eyes
we
of
haven't.
the Wemmick men, the eyes of these people, the lot of you would be nothing more than common monsters, and to slay you would be great glory for them. They could go back home and tell the story of how they cut down the snake man and the bird creature, etc., etc.
Oh yeah,
Well,
we know.
That's the
Not
case. We
least.
do have an in if we turn her over to the drow.
Slay them first. Then
I'm not sure that you're right, Red, and only because you wouldn't know this because you weren't here. But her plan was to sell this bard back to her own people, in which case she would have to interact with them.
Yeah, she's offering them something that's valuable, but
Well, she's a renegade.
they hate outcasts, believe me.
Red, make a wisdom
Oh, I
check.
believe you, but maybe we give her something else valuable. Like,
That would be a
How about we
20.
If
on
this
wisdom.
was Caldril's plan, it's a move of absolute desperation. The
Yeah,
chances
I'll
of
say
that
that, like,
working in your
Her
culture
only
are pretty
hope
low.
was that their need for this man was greater than their hatred of her. It would be rolling the die with your own life to go back in there in that state.
so then you think if we find this human encampment and we set her
I
free
can lead
near
you right
there-
back to the encampment. It shouldn't be hard.
No, not the encampment of the slaves. The encampment of these paladins.
Yeah.
If we set her free there with knowledge of their whereabouts, you don't think she'll flee back to her own people?
I think she'll try and make do in the forest until she has something else to offer to get back in.
Well, hell, how are we gonna find this place then?
I mean, we could still ask her.
She's not going to be cooperative.
I mean,
My opinion is we should just kill her now.
maybe we could
Easily.
take her. Maybe we could offer to
Kill
take
her and
with
make
us
it
out when
painless
we
and
leave.
quick.
And
No.
I'll turn to her as the bard at this point. I'll be like, what about you? Do you remember where you came from? Could you lead us back there?
He says he could direct you with words, but he would die 1,000 deaths before he led you back there in person.
What if we, as part of you leading us there, we brought the rest of your humans to safety first?
Just to be clear, because you're speaking in Orin, which is a language that he knows well, but
Yeah.
there are little inconsistencies between that and common. But to him, it sounded very much like you said, we're going to lead the humans to safe exit, let all of them go, but then you have to stay here and show us to where this place is.
That's what Wendy said. Wendy is under the perspective of this guy says he's the leader and was willing to lead those guys to safety. Maybe he actually is willing to take the responsibility for his people. if we free them, he'll do us this favor.
He looks away from you and he thinks long and hard for a moment. And then without looking back up, he tells you that if this is the way of things, then this is how it will be. But you couldn't consider it a favor. You would have, from his perspective, he's trading one master for another.
All right, fine. You can take us as close as you feel would be safe, and then you're free to go.
Now, are you asking him to take... Where are you asking him to take you? To the...
Like, he's terrified of going back to this drow place.
Mm-hmm.
And before I was asking him to take us to the drow place. Now I'm asking him to take us, like, maybe a day's travel from the drow place. Like, close enough that they're not going to get him, but
Okay.
he can give us actual reliable directions.
He could give you directions, but as he does, it starts to dawn on you. This place is several weeks' travel away. The Wemmicks attacked these drow nearly 2 months ago. They made their escape and made their way into this wood. You're going... It's a very, very long journey. You'll probably be able to make it faster than they did, but this is not a quick sojourn to the other side of the wood.
Wow, we're really lost. I wonder whose fault that is.
Then maybe I'm changing my mind. Maybe we do get these guys out first. And we secure our own escape, and then we make our foray to this drow encampment.
So,
To be clear,
Well,
the
this-
drow encampment is not the same place as the Kieran Seeley's fortress.
Oh, it's not?
No, these are two different locations. The dungeon is one, and the Drow Empire is another.
So... Does this guy have any idea where we're going, then?
How do you ask him?
I essentially, at this point, I'm trying to tell him our intentions and
Okay.
ask him how he can help us accomplish them.
He tells you he knows many songs of Kieran Seeley, the goddess of forbidden magics, that he could spin you many hundreds of tales that you'd be delighted to hear. Alas, he can only spin them in the tongue of the drow.
do any of these have, like, directions?
He tells you that several of them make mention of the great forests. He's bargaining with you. He has the information you want, but he's not going to give it up for free.
I'll just ask him in Southron, do you know which way north is?
He says, and somewhat wistfully, if you were to face the glory and light of the rising sun, north would be on your right.
Alright. So I turn to this guy who's told us, like, he essentially is bargaining with us. And I put a hand on my face and I say, how about we help you get your companions to glorious freedom, and in the meanwhile you can regale us with your tales.
He tells you maybe you've met his brother. He lives in a big hat. No, when you tell him that, yeah,
His
you
name's
will.
Ed with two Ds.
So essentially, you're trading the freedom of the rest of his band with
Yeah.
the
And
information.
to be clear, I told him, we don't know the way out, but we're going to figure it out from these Southlings, and we have a better chance of accomplishing that than his group of randos does on their own.
And he accepts these terms, and you can tell that he accepts them very gratefully.
Alright.
So we should kill the drow and make our way over to that encampment.
No. So while this conversation's going on, Birdie's squatting over the drow lady and he's just poking her.
No.
Poking her with what?
His just a stick he found
Okay.
No. Why?
Well,
because he doesn't like her.
tell you what, she's a renegade. They're probably going very, very torturously too, Birdie.
Yeah, like I said, anything if we hand her over, it will be more cruel than just putting a dagger through her throat right now.
Why don't
And
we
I
offer
don't
to,
step towards her and draw a dagger.
Okay.
Why don't we
just leave?
Why don't we just... Yeah, there we go. Let's just leave her alone.
Why don't we offer to take
Because
her to
she's
the
going to
surface?
work her way out of these when she wakes up, and then she's going to sneak up on us, poison us in our sleep.
We're heading towards the exact place she doesn't want to be.
Look, one less drow slaver in the world is good. It makes the world a better place in my eyes. And at this point, Red is, unless someone has stopped him, is crouched over her.
Raazu is
Has his
Raazu
dagger
steps-
drawn, but has not
All
stabbed
right,
her.
one at a time. Red, you go first.
Yeah, Red has said that. He has drawn his stiletto and he has it over her neck, but he hasn't stabbed her because he's making sure that he's still talking to you about it, but it's
Okay.
pretty clear what he wants to do.
Raazu does what?
Raazu is interceding between the Drow woman and Red, insisting that that we could buy our way in with a renegade.
At this, Bronzel speaks up in Southling, addressing Red, and says, "Treacherous though she may be, spilling her blood would be a great waste. There are ways to turn her into an asset."
Go on.
She looks up. Well, does Wendy speak Southling?
I say that in Orin.
He says if you keep her bound or weaponless, take away her poisons, she'll have no recourse but to follow you, to do what you say. Use her as a guide. Make use of her knowledge. If anyone knows of a speedy egress from the forest in these parts, surely it would be one of her kind.
Raazu nods.
I don't trust our ability to... Alright, look at it this way, Raazu. If you and I were on sides, do you think you could keep me, even after you'd taken all my stuff, from disappearing in the middle of the night one night?
Exactly, but that's why we need to keep vigilant watch.
Birdie pipes up.
You just said you don't think it would work.
Wait a
Why
second. To be clear, real quick, did he just say that we should just enslave her?
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
Come on, guys. This shouldn't be this hard.
The fact of the matter is,
Handing her over is going to be crueler than anything we do to her. We should just kill her.
and she deserves no less.
We can just
Thank
leave
you.
her alone. You keep calling her a drow slaver. Like, she's on the outs with whoever it is.
And her
This
plan to
is
get back in was
nonsense.
to sell them 12 slaves.
To be clear, she did say that we should sell this slave.
Birdie's still poking her with the stick, and he pipes up. He says, "Why don't we offer to take her to the surface?"
But also, to be clear, this guy just said that we should use this slave, so I'm not a huge fan of him right now either.
Let's just put it to a vote.
We put this one
I
to a
vote to
vote.
kill her. Raazu?
I say we take her and use her.
So what are the options? Kill her,
Wendy.
take her, or let her go?
I mean,
We're gonna have to do ranked choice voting, I think. 'Cause I say we just
Wendy.
leave her.
I think we
Wendy-
should like wait for her to wake up and see if we can't bargain with her.
You can't bargain with her, but okay, that's another... Everyone has voted for a separate option. Why am I even doing this?
That's why I said we need ranked choice voting.
We should leave her.
Alright, 2 leavers, which is more than anything else.
Is this a democracy? Is that...
I'm confident in our ability if she actually has the audacity to tail us and try and poison us. Especially after we leave her without her weapons and without her... We can take her.
If she
Red
figures
just
out,
rubs his neck at that. She almost killed me.
It's true.
And she only had a few seconds to react. Like, she had a split second and she almost dropped me, but if you think so...
We're also leaving her without her weapons. Like,
I'm just
that,
gonna-
that alone might just
But
be
we-
a difference.
But we keep her with her. We keep an eye on her. She doesn't try to stab.
Adrex, how confident would you be if you left me in the middle of this without my weapons that I couldn't make my way along?
I'm pretty sure I could take you.
no, he's right. You're all useless without weapons.
I mean, I'm still
Birdie
just
could
sitting
throw a
here.
rock at someone.
I'm still just sitting here poking her with a stick.
So we're...
The closest we have to consensus is leaving her, and if that's the case, I will strip her of everything and we'll just leave her.
Okay.
Do you think we should leave her naked too?
No.
Naked,
No!
naked, afraid.
No,
Isn't that-
Birdie!
What?
Birdie.
Did you just call her it? Make it afraid?
No,
Is there any
naked
way
or
I could,
afraid.
is there any way I could disarm and salvage the needle traps in her equipment?
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. What should I add to my sheet when I do that?
Some needles.
Cool.
I mean, like, I'm going to like take her boots off, and I'm just if we're gonna leave her, I'm gonna start stripping her naked. Just leave her naked.
Birdie, don't.
Her
Birdie.
boots are too big for you anyway.
Just leave her with her clothes.
So,
To be fair, you were all for killing her.
No!
And I would have buried her in her clothing.
But you draw the line at me taking her boots.
No, you can have the boots.
You can't even wear the boots.
I don't like this woman.
I don't like you very much right now.
At this point, Bronzel is watching this argument with some trepidation. That would be amusement if the situation were not so dangerous.
Dire.
All right, we've got 12 terrified humans sitting in a circle. Let's go deal with that.
Fine.
Right.
I just take her left boot.
Okay, you can have one boot.
It's a compromise. Nobody's
hand,
happy. And I give
I'll
it
hand
to the
Raazu
human.
back her shackles, and I'll make sure that I'll just go over her very carefully and make sure there's nothing else that we missed that was on her equipment.
Okay.
So we're leaving.
We're gonna
her here?
say 6 daggers,
Mm-hmm.
2 stilettos, 1 in each boot. She has 1 boot left. She had no valuables, but she had her poisoner's kit, her thieves' tools, and then she had that one special poison that I told you about.
Yep. Does she have a water skin?
No.
Does she have any rations?
No.
And are there any poisons on these needles I salvaged from traps?
There are, but I'm gonna say if you're gonna repurpose them as traps at all, you're gonna have to reapply your own poison.
Okay. Okay. I mean, I'll give them to Birdie because he can make use of them for traps.
When you get back to the slave encampment, back to their fire that's long since died down, Bronzel assures them all in the Southling tongue, right? I mean, you listen as he regales this story about these noble monster peoples who have come from the sunlit lands, come down to lead them the rest of the way. He tells them all, I told you I could find the exit, and so I have found them. They seem absolutely convinced.
Oh, I'll give Bronzel 2 of the daggers too, so he at least has something.
He
Oh,
doesn't.
they pipe in 2 seconds into the story. Yeah, we met the snake one earlier.
He doesn't take the daggers. He says he's confident in your ability to defend him. And he says this knowing that you need him in the near future, at least.
I discard the boot, by the way. When we
I'm going to give the
get back
daggers to the dwarves then.
Okay. And they happily accept them.
Dwarves love daggers. Well-known dwarven trait.
By the way, Raazu
Yes.
and Adrex smacks Raazu. Don't whip Birdie.
Birdie
Not
cheers.
You shut up.
Birdie raises both hands and goes, "Yeah, don't whip Birdie."
We all want to whip
You
Birdie, but we don't
shut
get
up.
to.
You're in trouble still.
The
What, is she grounded?
No, that was to Birdie.
Oh, okay.
It's Birdie grounded.
Yes, Birdie is grounded.
I saw something like this happening. Would be the best thing for it, and that certainly kept her attention.
Birdie is this like gremlin child that we just
And
don't have
I've-
to deal with.
And I've already made amends with him. Birdie, I
mean, it's-
healed your wound.
Don't whip party members. Not cool, man.
So, when we reconvene in 3 weeks, I'm going to be out for the next 2
Jeez.
weeks.
Okay.
You guys are going to put together a way to get these guys to safety, which will pretty much secure your own exit. Is that correct?
Yep.
Okay.
That was my hope, was that if they have
That was
we
the
would
dream.
help them.
Yeah.
You'll probably have to fight off Caldril, who is absolutely not dead and will be absolutely
you
coming
guys.
for revenge.
Ah!
That happens next.
If we have to fight off Caldril, at least we'll kill her with a weapon in her hand.
There is your.
She had a weapon in her hand when I stabbed her!
There is your.
That counts until she's dead!
There's your straw poll.
I think
Red.
we still should have.
I'll tell you what, because we're gonna end the session here is a good stopping point.
Mhm.
I'll give everybody the benefits of one long rest before setting out again,
Okay.
which you can attempt to use to do any last minute investigations or gatherings or anything.
Yeah,
The
let's try to.
humans know very little about living in this forest, and they are of no help as far as scavenging mushrooms. Some of them have become very sick, presumably by eating the wrong things, but they also seem to imply that just their presence in this forest is enough to have made them sick. Inhaling spores, touching certain plants. They've been in this forest for several weeks now, and you guys have only been here for a couple days. The idea of subsiding in this forest long term is probably not possible.
Instead of working on my poison, can I take my poisoner's action during the long rest to figure out how many doses I got of the poison we took off of her?
Make an intelligence poisoner's kit check. Does anybody in this group speak Drow specifically?
Nope.
No.
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 Just undercommon.
The poisoner's that's +6. That would be a 24.
24. Probably 2 or 3 doses, depending on how strong you want it to make it. As you're investigating it, though, you find yourself being very careful with it. And
Unlike every other poison I've ever had to handle.
it's so unlike any other poison you've had to handle. And you recall having spoken with some of the Drow as they've come to trade slaves. You've heard tales of some houses of Drow being so skilled with poison, they have ways of getting around poison immunity. And you think that this oil here is one such poison. So it's not actually a poison, it's an oil. This is oil.
Okay, it's an oil. Got it.
You attach to a weapon. It's an oil, oil D. As of
Can
yet,
I use
unidentified.
my...
We already kind of know what it does now because we.
Oh yeah.
Does a shitload of damage.
Use ID that one.
Rather than use my herbalism kit to make a potion, can I use it to try to figure out a way of kind of like protecting us against the effects of this horrible spores?
Make that. Do you have medicine? Trained in medicine?
No,
Do you
just
enlist?
herbalism kit.
Do you enlist Adrex's help?
Yeah, sure. I'd say
Okay.
Adrex, hey, want to not turn out into be a horrible, shambling mess like them? That guy's got
Yeah.
mushrooms growing out of him.
I
A
don't want
couple of
mushrooms
them
growing
do.
on me at all.
Make an intelligence medicine check at disadvantage, but Adrex being trained in medicine will counteract that disadvantage.
Okay.
Beautiful dragon scales can't handle shrooms.
Oh, bye, die. Yay!
That's a 17.
17?
Yeah.
You're pretty sure that you can, with Adrex's help, you might be able to treat the people who have already begun growing mushrooms out of their skins?
Yeah.
And you're pretty sure, having traveled with Caldril for a short amount of time, seeing what kinds of things she'll eat out of the forest. Short term, you're probably okay.
Uh-huh.
Long term, though, you don't see any course of action except to just be naturally resistant to the forest's dangers. There's a lot
So
of...
we're not going to live here, but we can probably survive for as long as we need to be here.
Right, exactly. As long as you're careful about it, but being here for a matter of weeks is going to be bad news. All right.
Can I do an investigation check on stupid shield?
No, because you just spent your long rest helping Windy with your medicine.
Can I investigate the stupid shield for him?
Sure, if he lets you.
I don't know. He's being grounded.
Okay, well in that case, I would like to identify this scroll we have.
Still not sure what Birdie did wrong.
Scroll C.
He
Scroll
has a
C.
boot.
He spoke out of
that.
turn.
Okay, that's fine. No, I'm fine if you're upset about that. That makes sense.
No, I discarded the boot as soon as we saw the humans. I just didn't want her to have the boot.
That's even worse.
Go ahead and make that check for scroll C.
That's just you being a dick.
I rolled a 20.
It is a scroll of Earth Tremor
Oh,
that will function as per the spell.
that sounds exciting.
We went way over this week, but I've already put the straw poll in the chat. I'm going to go add up some experience. I am out the next 2 weeks. Next Sunday at this time, while you all are just starting to watch SGDQ, you lucky bastards, I will be in my car driving towards Tennessee, of all places, and then we are not coming back until the following Sunday. So the next 2 Sundays I will be gone. When we pick it up the Sunday after that, I have my awesome Drow dungeon ready to go.
Yay!
Birdie, do you not have a potion of healing?
No.
All right, I'll give you the one that I made yesterday.
Okay.
All right, I'm going to go quiet for a few minutes while I add this to experience. You guys talk about where you want to put your blips, and I'll be right back.
So who's the most creative today?
Adrex, Money Fist.
I liked Money
Money
Fist.
Fist, yes. Money Fist is pretty good. Okay, so
Normally you punch the coins out of someone.
yeah. So for the party's goals today.
Red.
Yes.
Everything.
Yeah.
I was gonna say Windy, because Windy was trying to come up, make sure that everyone was happy at the end of it. And in the end, not anyone was really happy. But I think
Well, I don't think
it was the
we're gonna make-
closest towards a party goal. Even though
Alright,
the party goal are 5 different. I don't know.
So who's the badass today?
I'll take badass if you don't want to give me party goal, because I did just kind of
Yeah.
sneak up behind her and put a dagger in her throat.
No, yeah, that was badass.
Yeah, that was absolutely
that's
badass.
pretty badass.
So who's intangible today?
I enjoyed Birdie. I enjoyed Birdie giving her lip the whole time.
Just existing.
I like the favorite thing I did this session was me just annoying the hell out of her so to distract her.
Yeah, no, it was that
It was
was
a very
really good.
Birdie thing to do.
It was, and Raazu picked up on that.
I am a very responsible party member.
No, absolutely
No.
not.
No, I will not let that slide with that.
Like I feel like you guys are losing faith in me.
We never had faith in you, so that's not true.
I mean,
We consider you neutral.
I might accidentally miss and shoot an arrow into. No, I wouldn't do that.
Yeah, you wouldn't, because I'd throw it back.
No, probably Raazu.
Oh no! Like Birdie's gonna slip some feces into your water rations
What? Why would you do that?
That's why we consider you neutral.
Yeah.
because you whipped me, and
Oh, well, actually, you know what? That's fair. You did whip him.
Yeah. Don't whip party members.
Well, Raazu carries a whip. We come across a drow slaver. What do you expect she's gonna do?
Whip Birdie?
that's a good solution to all the party's problems. Just whip the
Whip
kobold.
Birdie? Yes.
This
Oh,
I'm
party,
still trying to figure out if Red is upset that she didn't consider him to be one of the slaveholders. Thinking maybe a little, like his ego might be just slightly bruised.
Well,
Hey, she thought I was bad in the forest. She was like, I need someone who's both stealthy and good at a bow. When do you stay here?
clearly the men are
Not a judge of people, right?
Clearly the men are in charge here, not the women, or the women
Yeah.
are in charge, not the men.
I do
Oh,
owe
that's
a
actually a
lot
good point.
of
I hadn't thought of that.
a lot of
No, that
this
makes
character
total sense.
to the Tome of Foes, which has a perfect chapter on Drow society that I thought would be great for a little pre-Underdark romp, pre-dungeon Underdark romp. So, I didn't realize how late it was.
Yeah, well, it's because the argument took up quite a bit.
All right, so let's start with Raazu. I awarded you your alignment. Good and evil are subjective distinctions. What matters is keeping to your own ethics, and I awarded it to you for whipping Birdie. It's what needed to be done in that situation to keep order.
See, I was gonna go for that with my flaw, because I'll take any advantage if I can, regardless of the consequences.
So what consequences was Raazu afraid of? Maybe afraid's the wrong word, but what consequences do you think she might have faced for whipping Birdie?
Pissing off the rest of her party.
Also,
No,
I'm
I-
totally gonna slip feces in her water.
No.
Yeah, don't do that.
she's got to drink the water, man.
I'm sorry, you can't stop me. Don't worry, I'll forget about it
Well,
later.
I'll tell you what. If you want that one for your flaw, and then make another case something different for alignment, I'll give it to you both. But I'm not giving you 2 blitz for the same thing.
Well, then the for the alignment, again, like party needs resources. Party needs resources. Selling these people initially would have tweaked to that and being like, okay, maybe.
So you would have been fine.
She has no problems selling humans into slavery.
Just a little light slavery.
She would have been fine splitting the cost of those slaves 3 ways between Raazu, Windy, and Caldril. Would she have been fine
Correct.
with Red and Adrex and Birdie not getting a cut?
She would have cut him after we parted ways.
Okay. Yeah, anything else?
The ideal, Raazu was very, very thoroughly lobbying to sell this woman back to her own people as a renegade.
And you think that feeds into causing her fear?
Yes. Because she was very clearly not wanting... She was very clearly moving around, having us double back on our own trail, that kind of thing.
Windy.
Yeah.
I gave you your ideal. Learning new things is never wasted. You worked a lot in this mushroom forest to learn what things are harmful and what things are not. You paid a lot of attention to that. You want to make any case for anything else?
Yeah, I got good as helping others. Opening up the trapdoor to let out the ancient evil so that whoever wandered along didn't do it.
But Windy didn't open the door, though. Birdie and Adrex opened the door.
Oh, no. Windy was the one who said, though, hey, we need to open this up so that we can take out anything that was there. I was there while they were opening the door.
Okay. So from Windy's perspective, it's like releasing that ancient evil is a net goal because you guys killed it.
Yeah,
Nobody
no,
else had to
exactly.
deal with it.
And yeah, Windy was arguing
Windy
to do
even
that.
actually said that because someone was
Yeah,
like,
no,
hey.
Windy didn't make that argument.
Okay. And
Yeah.
what else?
My other one is redirection. Windy was doing her best to figure out what pieces were in play in this forest and how to move them all such that we got what we wanted.
And she feels like she's accomplished that?
Yeah, I feel like we have a working plan now.
I mean, that remains to be seen. I feel like you had a working plan, and then you wrecked it by stabbing the NPC. And then I feel like this is the second time that's happened with these characters. You keep making deals with people you know are evil, and then you're shocked when they're evil, and then you wreck your own plans.
That's why Wendy's annoyed. Wendy knew she was evil, but we made a very clear-cut deal, and she's like, okay, well, they won't mind if we also do this other thing.
I feel like it was
No.
Red both times. Because Red is the one who advocated strongly for taking down the orc camp. And then
Yeah.
Red's the one who stabbed this drow.
Correct.
Maybe Red has the problem.
I don't know what this problem you're speaking of us is. So far, both of these worked out pretty well.
We'll get to you, son. You just sit tight. Adrex,
Yes, sir.
I gave you your bond. My cool friends and I making the world a better place. I need to make sure they don't get carried away for very adamantly saying, we're not killing this drow. She's at our mercy and murdering her. You made sure that we didn't just murder her in cold blood. You want to make any other case?
Yeah, aspect, signature style, energetic. Money fist.
Money fist.
Money fist. That's really good. I was happy with my fist.
Ideals, it is my responsibility to bring out the good in people. It sort of ties into how it was with this bond, but man alive, Adrex was frustrated throughout the whole thing.
Why? Just because you making a deal with Drow, or then murdering her, or going back on your word? Like, what was frustrating?
So, the thing is that I went for the other thing for my ideal.
Mm-hmm.
It is my responsibility to bring out the good in people, so which is why Adrex was very much like, no, we're not going to murder her.
But do you,
Even though-
by advocating that, were you
And-
actually bringing out the good in Red? Because I feel like you didn't sway Red at all.
No, not red,
Okay.
but Yeah, I'll let it. Fuck, and I forgot what I was. There was something with my flaw too.
That sounds like a great idea.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do remember you saying that sounds like a great idea when I was like, we should unseal this ancient evil. You were like, great, let's do it.
And then he
that's true,
actually
that's
did
what
it.
was.
He was
Yeah.
down the corner.
And then
Birdie,
he tried to resplit.
I gave you your bond. Focus on the little things. Make the tribe stronger any way they can. You simpered and cowered and squealed, and then you ate a whipping for the good of your tribe. I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you deserve that one. Even though you tried and failed to get away.
Well, I mean, would you let somebody whip you?
No.
Would I let them? Absolutely not.
Exactly.
Some people are into that.
But if they had Sentinel,
If they had Sentinel, yeah. You want to make another case?
No, I don't have anything.
Red, I gave you your bond.
Yep.
Doing what you your companions find distasteful for the exact opposite reason that I gave Adrex his bond.
Yep.
For not just for advocating killing her at the end, but with no discussion, just jumping out of the shadow and backstabbing her. That's a classic thief move there, boy. You got anything else for me?
I was genuinely shocked that Red didn't double back and kill her.
No, if I killed her, I would have done it while everyone was talking. So I'm going to say my alignment for trying to help the slaves. The survival requires the greatest good for the greatest number.
Okay. So let me expound on that real quick. If you guys find an exit to the Underdark, like how I said if, it's going to be in these northern lands that you all are familiar with, but humans have essentially no chance. Because they're surrounded by monsters. Orcs and yak people and things. So I guess my question is Red like taking responsibility for these people's lives? And if so, how long does that extend? Do you just get them
Until he gets them back into the southern lands.
So you're
We could also
all the
just
way to
take
the
them.
wall, is what you're saying.
They don't belong here.
Okay.
We could just take them to the Pigman village and leave them.
I don't want.
So I also have my flaw for just deciding on my own to sneak over and talk to the humans,
Okay.
and then to backstab the drow with no discussion on anyone else.
You definitely smooth
mean-
things over with the humans a little bit.
Sorry?
You definitely smooth things over with the humans a little bit.
And then I also have my adversary because it keeps happening.
So- Wait, your adversary wasn't in this session at all?
My adversary is a powerful enemy who I freed slaves.
Oh, I have it down as the illicit pit fighting arena where you once took bets. Oh, that's your aspect, not adversary.
Yeah, my adversary is freed slaves from X, earning the enmity of Y. It keeps happening. That's a joke. I don't actually need that one.
Okay.
No, I think that's good.
I mean,
think
It's
it's
like
totally
as
fair.
long as it's like an aspect of your character, I think that's perfectly
because
valid.
right now I have the proprietor of an illicit pit fighting arena where you once took bet is your adversary.
Yeah.
We can broaden that to be what you just said, if you
Yeah,
want.
no, I'm fine with adding the drow to it.
Like, to be fair, Birdie was like totally expecting you to stab her, and like just because walking through the woods with her for an hour just
Yeah, if it's an aspect of Red's character that he keeps freeing slaves, pissing people off at him, I think it doesn't need to be the exact same person you freed slaves from before.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna change it to freeing slaves keeps pissing people off.
Sounds good.
This group and slaves, man. Just can't get over it. Just
I don't
can't get over it.
Things would have been a lot smoother with Huion too if you hadn't had to free a bunch of slaves.
Yep.
We give one blip for the most creative solution to a problem in a session. Who was that this week?
Mummy punch.
It was creative, if nothing else.
Adrex did double. Adrex.
Question: would he deserve that blip if he hadn't spent 2 blips to make it work?
Oh, absolutely. The second you say, I put silvers within my fingers and punch a ghost, I don't care what you roll on the die.
For the record, it wasn't a ghost. I gave it the stats of a shadow. So if you had actually failed your saves, it would have started draining your strength. So a little
That's,
tougher
like
than ghost.
a defining aspect of Adrex, so I'm glad he saved on those.
Punching ghosts.
Strength. But yeah, that
We
too,
give
I guess.
one
Punching
blip
ghosts is
for
pretty
furthering the
good.
party's goals. Who furthered the party's goals the most this session?
I think we went
Windy?
back and forth between
I
Windy
think it
and
was
Red.
Windy for trying her. I mean, this is one of those, we can't always just give it to a person just because you can't not give it to a person because what they do fails.
Right.
So yeah, Windy for trying to find a way through everything.
Because our party goal in and of its like broadly speaking is bringing harmony to groups around us, and I think Windy worked the most toward that.
We sow a lot of chaos for that to be our goal. I want you to know.
Windy doesn't believe in chaos.
And in my adventure notes, I have slightly different storyline. I imagine you guys would you make a decision, a perhaps violent decision between either Caldrill or Bronzeville as your guide. So either way is fine with me. I'll get you there either way. We do
So
get...
after like 20 lines, you just started writing apostrophe Rill.
I fantasy name generator for both of those. We have one blip for being the badass. Who was a badass this week? You already
Red
gave one for
for-
Money Punch.
Red walking up and just shitting and stabbing that woman.
Just stone cold shanked that woman. We give
Yep.
one for the intangibles.
I
Yeah,
enjoyed
yeah,
Birdie.
For being Birdie.
Birdie for double dipping on the cowardice and cowering. Raazu did tell him to play it up, and he.
At least I didn't get it
I
from the
think what-
boot.
I feel like that's the best argument I've ever made in a game for gameplay reasons to get someone advantage.
Yes, it was.
And Raazu is our straw poll winner this week.
Wow.
People like it when you whip Birdie?
I guess.
Okay.
I
I'll
enjoy
do
I
it.
mean,
it.
I kind
Then.
of like it when you whip Birdie.
I gotta say, I'm a little surprised because I feel like last campaign, Mahogany won the straw poll like 50% of the time. I can't remember the last time Windy took the straw poll. Nodal, what are you doing
Windy
wrong?
doesn't need the accolades of others.
Oh, okay. But Mahogany totally did.
Mahogany 100% needed the accolades of others.
All right. So, each of you is taking 410 experience. That's a combination of the Shadow Topiary Borers and taking down Caldrill, whose stat block was not as impressive as you're probably imagining.
What did you say that was?
410.
Thank you.
And a whole bunch of blips. There was a lot more
Good
role-playing
loads.
this session than I was imagining. I actually had one more encounter I was going to run that I don't have to do now, so that's good.
Rad.
Raazu, I've got you down for alignment, ideal, flaw, and the straw poll. That's 4.
And 300 each, right? For the blips. I
Yes.
still have not spent blips in a while.
Windy, I've got you down for alignment, ideal, aspects, and the assists, so that's 4.
Alright.
Adrex, I've got you down for bond, aspect, flaw, and creative, so that's 4. Birdie, I've got you down for bond and intangibles, that's 2. And Red, I've got you down for alignment, bond, aspects, flaw, and badass. That's 5.
Woo.
Woohoo.
So we are out the next 2 weeks. I'll be playing D&D in Tennessee. I'm going to run another one-shot. We're going to be with Peanut's family, and we have a 12-year-old niece who loved the one-shot I ran for her last year. And I want you all to know that Melvin Ponce will be in that one-shot.
Will Melvin Ponce in fact be a drow slaver?
We'll see. I don't know that Drow Slaver is somewhere I want to go with 12-year-old players. Yeah, then let's strip her naked in the woods. That'd be great.
No.
So we'll be back on July 8th. Or yeah, July 8th will be the next time I see you guys for Flumph. Don't forget about me. I'll miss you all very much.
Don't you